Another story. Ahead of the ECOWAS Crisis Summit set to hold today, meeting by the former Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, with coup leaders in the Republic of Niger has generated reactions. Well, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi II, who was the 14th Emir of Kano, is the leader of the Tijaniya sect, which has a large following in Niger. He was accompanied to the meeting by the Sultan of Damagarin in Niger, Abubakar Umaru Sanda. After the meeting, Sanusi headed to Aso Rock to brief President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He told our State House correspondent, Adesua Omorua, that he met with the coup leaders in his own capacity and not as a government emissary.
Yes, I came to brief him on the details of my discussion with the leaders of Niger.
Would you say your intervention was positive, successful?
Interventions are ongoing, and we'll continue to do our best to bring the two parties together to improve understanding. This is a time for public diplomacy. It's not a matter that we leave to governments. All Nigerians, all Nigerians need to be involved to find a solution that works for Africa, a solution that works for Niger, that works for Nigeria, and a solution that works for humanity.
There are also reports that you took this initiative by yourself and you're not the government's delegation.
No, I'm not the government. I'm not.
Okay.
I was not sent by the government.
Okay.
The government officials were aware I was going, but it was my personal initiative using my personal contacts to get there, and I will continue to do my best. It is my duty as a leader to do that.
This is a huge story that made the front pages of all the newspapers today. It is trending, but obviously people will also take an ethnic undertone to it. You saw that it was not just Sanusi that have gone to Niger. I mean, the military people ignored the Sultan and also, I believe, some other leaders, northern leaders. But let me take this tweet from Egbo, who wrote, "The North is addressing its own problem, its own way. The northern elites understand what is at stake and are putting in the work not to destabilize the region further. I hope they'll give room for their neighbors down south if the table is turned." Well, the former emir's visit comes as Niger's military rulers rejected diplomatic missions from the African Union, ECOWAS, as well as the United States. Well, in an effort to reverse the coup, a former rebel leader and politician, Risha Agbola, on Wednesday launched a movement opposing the military government, a first sign of internal resistance to the military rule. Agbola, in his statement, said that his new Council of Resistance for the Republic supports ECOWAS and any other international actors seeking to restore constitutional order in Niger and will make itself available for any useful purpose which aims at reinstating the overthrown President Mohamed Bazoum, who has been in detention at his residence since the takeover. Rufai, we had this conversation yesterday where we saw the Italian Prime Minister, admonish also, like, berate France for exploiting, I believe, is Burkina Faso because of their resources and 14 other West African countries. But let me pull up a statement credited to Burkina Faso's coup leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The statement reads, "If USA and France want uranium, come to Niger and build nuclear power plants. If you want cocoa, come to Africa and build chocolate company. If you want copper, diamonds, tantalum, tin, gold, and silver, come to Africa and build the company. If you want lithium from Zimbabwe, come and build the company." Well, the Post went further to state that Nigeria is one of the largest oil-producing countries and doesn't have one single refinery. We're no longer in 1863 Abraham Lincoln. Actually, I want to come to you, Rufai, because you were trying to make a statement yesterday, and I wanted you to finish that statement in terms of the reason why the coup is festering right now.
Very well said.
Niger.
The reason why we have coups like this is that all of the resources of Africa have not been used for Africa. It's been used for people that exploit Africa, which are these colonialists. And that, like he has said, if you want to develop, if you want our resource, come to Africa and we'll make it better. Truth has to be said. The narrative, this narrative has always been on.
Yes.
Today, I pay tribute to Thomas Isodowe Noel Sankara. This was what Sankara stood for. But also, I said before that we are our own problems. Because when you now have the right leadership that wants to do right, it is still people amongst us that these Western nations use. Because when Sankara started pushing for the resource of the land of the upright man, Burkina Faso, he changed the name of the country to be Burkina Faso, land of the upright man. When he was pushing for the resource to be used, it was still a fellow Burkinabe called Blaise Compaoré that they used to kill that man. And that man had nothing. He had nothing except a little guitar holding this banjo he had. But he fought for his country.
Yeah.
And Africans, we should stop killing our good leaders. Let's stop killing our best brain. If we come together and we have something the French will call solidarité, then we can build this African continent. But you see, we have so many thieves amongst us because of what they want to eat from the West and little promises of the future. In the first place, when the colonizers came to colonize us, wasn't it our African chiefs that they gave gunpowder and some other things to be able to sell us into slavery? Let us look inward.
Yeah.
The problem of Africa, yes, one is that of colonialists, but it's also our fellow Africans.
Right.
We don't come together, we don't love ourselves. And if we don't do that, Africa will not survive.
Right. Well, you know, I would have loved to take our final story, but it's a very detailed story about a 17-year-old boy who was killed in Adamawa State over a cell phone. But, you know, we'll take that story tomorrow so we can highlight that type of menace happening in our security system. But over to you, Ayo. I mean, if you would like to, you know, really touch on that last statement I made, and also the resistance right now, the new, you know, rebel group that is forming in Niger. If you could really touch on that really quickly so we can end the show.
We've had quite a conversation around this, and a few experts and guests have spoken to this with regards to what's going in Niger. Later on today, we'll have the ECOWAS heads of state and government come together to have conversations. And what has been said, I quoted Mr. Femi Falana earlier, is that on that agenda today should also be how the government can look inward and how we can work to build. No one will save Africa from the outside. We have to do it from the inside.
Absolutely.
I hope that's part of the conversation.
Dr. Bati, 1 minute to go.
Well,
Minute, yes.
Agboola is the name of the man that is leading the coalition for resistance for the Republic, the CRR, as it is otherwise known. So they are resisting in the name of the Republic. And again, he has his support. He's very close to the Tuaregs in the north, as I pointed out earlier on, who control commerce and politics in that part of the country. So you have the Hausas, you know, which General Chiani and his supporters belong to, the group they belong to. You have at the center of it, Bazoum, who is a minority Arab, who became president and who has now, well, seemingly been deposed. And then you have, you know, this likely coalition from the north involving the Tuaregs, who are sympathetic to Bazoum. The fear here is that Niger could become a major theater of war. Another Libya on our hands.
Unfortunately.
The situation probably made worse also by the complexity of factors. All these players that I've pointed out, and then you still have the Islamic jihadists, and then the fact that the whole of the Sahel region,
big problem,
from Mali to Burkina Faso all the way to Libya, could further implode.
Absolutely.
It will be a major problem for the West African region. It will be a major crisis in terms of humanitarian issues for the international community. So the responsibility of leadership is one. Leadership, which can solve so many things.
Yes.
Number two, the responsibility to protect all the ordinary people, innocent people who may suffer as a result of this. And number three is to continue to pursue the objective of peace.
Right.
Pacific resolution of disputes being one of the major pillars of the UN Charter, to which all these countries are signatories.
Yeah, pursue peace. That's really what we need.
Pacific.
Ebola and this whole rebel system, we hope that it would not implode like you have said. I'd like to thank you all for your great analysis on what's trending. Well, that's all I have for you on what's trending today. I'll see you